You called earlier.
I did.
And I was going to call you back. So what can I help you with?
Okay. I had called earlier. I've been calling a lot, actually, because by the graces of God, I was brought to some information about 10 years ago, about the differences of certain kind of specific jurisdictions. I was going to go into law, but a lot of it was going to go against the Constitution, and it just conflicted with my morals. As we got along further into this entire 2020 COVID-19 stuff, I decided to take it into full gear for myself to establish my status as a national. And I know that my private property is mine, and pretty much there's exemption laws as long as you're not under Title 29A, Statute 109 on the Reciprocity statute. It talks about non-commercial activity of vehicles and how to have exemption from the registration and the licensing laws, as long as it's a non-commercial vehicle or automobile. So I've been calling on what specific steps is required from the Secretary of State to write out a letter, is it an agreement, and what is necessary within that, so that I can have that documented with the rest of my papers, so that if I ever get stopped and accosted by, a policy enforcer or a peace officer, I can supply them with that letter. Because I talked to an officer before about this stuff of violating rights and asking him, what his job description really was. Because every time you watch these police officers violate people's rights, they just say, well, I'm just doing my job. So I started to call them and ask them specifically what their job description was. And they try to lead me to an authorized article or something, descriptive on the internet as towards what they wanted us to know. But I pulled up all their stuff. I had this conversation with a lieutenant, and he's like, you're pretty much on the money, but if you don't have a registration or a license, then I'm going to arrest you. And I was like, well, under Title 29A, Statute 109B, go down to Section 2 of B, it states that as long as I have a formal written agreement or upon the jurisdictions and the written... See, I'm not really one to understand the privileges, because privileges come only for a 14th Amendment citizen, and that was after the Civil War. And this is where they had a reformation and reconstructed the government and created a United States citizen under the 14th Amendment. And only they have privileges, whereas the people of the several states that are nationals, they have immunities. Now, I'm not saying they can't go around and kill people, obviously, but that falls under tort crime. And then with contract crime, I'm not contracted with the state of Maine.
We're talking about crimes and police officers, and I don't really...
My question is this, is what steps do I need to do so that, because he told me, the lieutenant, that if I didn't have that letter, then he was still going to violate my rights and steal my property and stuff like that. So then that started my quest to contact the Secretary of State. I called...
You have to have a registered motor vehicle to drive on the roads, and it has to be...
Well, there is actually a right to travel.
Titled and insured, and...
That's only for vehicles that are going to be on commercial activity, collecting for hire or transportation use only at the highways. As a private American...
No, it's anybody that's on the highway.
Anybody that is going to use it for commercial activity, as stated in the traffic codes of Title 29A, that the exemption laws are applicable to where for non-commercial vehicles. So as long as I'm not collecting a fee out of for-hire capacity or engaging in any kind of transportation use, which means I'm collecting a fee for transporting people, which could be recognized as goods, or even DoorDash or stuff like that. I'm a private citizen, so I'm not established or contracted. Living men can own property. Under the Fifth Amendment, we have a right to property and happiness in life. And it says in the Fifth Amendment, can't use private property for public use without just compensation. So I'm not signing my property over. And that's basically what it is. It's saying that you're going to use your automobile as commercial activity. And I'm not. I'm not even a U.S. citizen under the 14th Amendment. I'm a Maine national. So I'm protected. I'm not subject to all these policies unless I contract in. And so that's the whole thing. So, and under your own statutes, it says it's exempt from any kind of commercial laws. So, they have to.
I'm sorry, but I don't know where that is.
It's under Title 29A, Statute 109.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
What?
Title 29A, 109, and if you go down to Section B, and it'll say the formal agreement is also Section 2. So it'll be B and then 2. And if you read all the way down from B, it's going to talk about non-citizen, but then there's an excerpt that pops right up where it talks about the exemption laws and licensing and registration is for non-commercial. So everybody...
I have it right here in front of me, and I just don't see that.
Okay, if you go down.
109.
Yep.
29A.
Yep, Title 29A, B, Reciprocity. And then if you read down B, it says a non-resident student enrolled in a university, college, or school within the state as long as that student possesses a valid registration and license issued by the jurisdiction of legal resident. Following down, it says, the exemptions from registration of this subsection apply only to non-commercial use and operation of vehicles in this state. Then if you go down to 2, informal agreements. The Secretary of State, after determining that like privileges are granted by a jurisdiction of the United States or province, shall enter into a written agreement with that jurisdiction of the United States or province, setting forth the conditions under which residents of that jurisdiction engaged in interstate commerce, operations in and through this state are exempt from the registration and licensing laws of this state. So he agreed with me. He said, you're absolutely right. These are the exemptions. The more that you look up operator, that is a commercial term, vehicle, commercial term, driver, commercial term, transportation, commercial term. All these are describing someone who's operating as an employee of something, and I'm not an employee. So I'm not subject to those policies or those. I'm subjected to common law. That's it. And the Constitution. I'm not a part of the system. So I'd like to know, without prejudice, and reserving all rights delegated by God, protected by the Constitution, recognized under UCC 1-308 and UCC 1-103.6, which makes the Uniform Commercial Code in harmony with the common law again. Without the Constitution, we would never have any of these other contracts, because the Constitution says we have the power of unlimited contracting. That's how they were able to do this. I didn't know that they were creating a fictitious entity when I was born, and neither did my parents. And so without full disclosure, it's actually fraud. And I don't want to
I think maybe what you should do is write to the Secretary of State and, send a letter. And
so this is, I'm going to let you know,
I can't.
I'm documenting these calls, and I'm trying to figure out the best way how to operate.
I know, but I don't think that you are interpreting it to mean something that it does not mean.
Are you sure? Because if you read the Constitution of 1820, it says all power is inherent by the people. So I believe
why don't you just put it in writing? Could you just write a letter?
Because I figured that maybe the people that we elect and appoint to office are smart enough to help us so that we can actually go through actual barriers and obstacles that you guys require so we can actually have a positive outcome. Instead of having it be this runaround, which it's been the entire time, you guys just simply let me know that, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And then we just proceed further. And then that way, there's not this tyrannical force. There's like a daddy and a mommy relationship. You guys are not my daddy or my mommy. And I would rather just have somebody give me the proper channels rather than just writing. Or if this is what you want, what does my letter entail? What is the requirements? That was what I was asking. What are the requirements necessary within this written letter from the Secretary of State? Because I know government doesn't grant rights. They're not gonna, so do I? Could you put this in a letter and mail it into us, and we'll have somebody look at it. Can you do that? Can you give me the address? Excuse me? Can you please give me the address? Sure. It's 148 State. It's Secretary of State. Yep. And then 148 State House Station. Okay. Augusta, Maine. 04333. I don't know your name, so I can't know who I'm addressing. But should I get? I'm not the secretary. I'm not the Secretary of State. Right. Bellows is the Secretary of State. I have a question though. It's like so. I think that what you're reading, I think you're interpreting it to mean something that it doesn't mean. But I don't know. I'm not the Secretary of State. So if you just put it in writing, well, it says send it in, and then, exemption, which means I don't have to. Only to non-commercial votes, commercial use. I'm basically saying that because the Supreme Court has ruled that an automobile is a private household item like a refrigerator. And you can't deprive anybody of life, which is a ways to get to a hospital or to get food. And the state... No, but it has to be registered. Why, though? On the road, because if you have an accident and, you cause... All I need to do is just make sure it's insured. That's all I need to do. And I can insure my vehicle and pay for a yearly insurance, and then that way I'm liable if something happens. Yeah, well, it has to be inspected, too, so... Well, that's only, again, within realms of where I'm allowing it to be under the property and authority of the state rather than it be my own personal private property. See, I believe that they're registering it so they can tax it. And then now they're going to issue all these taxes, which... Again, this is the Boston Tea Party all over again. The state is basically taking advantage of people's private property, extorting money out of them for victimless crimes. They're getting deprived of their property by giving them the exact evidence that incriminates them. What's the first thing that your police officer asks for when they pull you over? License and registration, so I'm going to give them what they use to say that I'm... And I even have the laws that prove that they say it's a crime, because I've seen them beat people up, rip them out of their vehicle... All this violence, for what? And the people in Maine, I can see, are deathly afraid of their government. They don't want to stand up to their government at all, but if you start reading the Constitution of 1820, they are the government. They have the power to reshape, reform the government, abolish laws, do whatever they want. And I'm not trying to say you guys, or you specifically, but the government is growing tyrannical against the people. And usurping, and then saying, hey, this is what you need to do. No, you need to do this. You're the one who's subject to it, not me. The Constitution binds the government. And then through legislation and contract, Social Security numbers and all this stuff, this is where they get us. We're signing over our own biological and physical property and then acting like, where's it going to? Who's the government work for? The people or a foreign entity? The powers that shouldn't be. Who's our God? I'm sorry, but I disagree. If the Constitution gives me rights, then I'm going to recognize those rights. Well, actually, God gives me the rights. They're protected by the Constitution. I'm exempt. Even the 9th and 10th Amendment recognizes these things. But in the Bill of Rights, if you read the Constitution of Maine, most powerful document ever. And the government does not have authority, only by the people. And that's where we're at right now. And people ought to take their property back because the government doesn't benefit them. For what? Safety and security? Take all my freedom away for safety and... I don't know. We can manage our own affairs without the dictation of anybody else. That's the way I see it. And to me, it's a voluntary thing. We're governed by consent. If you read the Declaration of Independence, we're governed by consent. I don't need to be governed by you guys. I want my property's my property. If you need a copy of the VIN number, I'll let also the town records know, along with my status, who I am, and they can see my private automobile and me traveling freely like a real American, and just leave me alone, or I'll have to put a lawsuit out on people and a lien against them. You know, this is where it's coming to protest and to let people know, hey, maybe we should do away with qualified immunity. Maybe we should start holding them accountable, because we're getting charged for victimless crimes, taxation, didn't do anything for what? And it all boils back down to this. Signing our stuff over, registering it over to who? For what? Why? Who do they work for? Is this a for-profit corporation? Are you guys a for-profit corporation? Sounds like you guys are the ones who are dictating and operating commercial activity and then extorting money out of people. That's what I see is going on. And I've contacted, from the banks to DMVs to everybody in the state of Maine. I've even had to ask the news agencies based off everything that's going on. I had a civil rights violation from Bangor Savings Bank by violating my rights based off nationality, status, even my beliefs. That's what they said. We don't believe in the same thing as you, sir. So this is affecting religion. So they're creating a world that's going against, like, I have to be a conformist to be a part of my own country. I'm sorry. The power is going back to the people slowly. We're waking up. And if you read that reciprocity law and even all the definitions, a driver is one conducting commercial activity, an operator, the list goes on. And I am not conducting commercial activity. So I would like to know, without prejudice and no discrimination against you guys, what necessary protocols I need to do as a free American to be left alone by my government unless I physically harm somebody or destroy property or contract with you guys, and then I can understand why you want to steal my property and beat me up or charge me a whole bunch of fines because a headlight's out, which is none of your business. It's nobody's business. Unless I'm conducting my own self, not hurting anybody, it shouldn't hurt you. That's what freedom is, you know? So if you could please, can you answer me these questions?
No, I cannot. That's why I asked you to mail your correspondence in regarding this, and because I'm not, I can only tell you that to ride on the roads, you need to have a registered motor vehicle. It needs to be insured, and it needs to be inspected. And that's just
to conduct commercial activity. To conduct commercial activity. Yeah.
Any of us, going to and fro to work and to the grocery store or wherever, you need to be insured. So if you have an accident, you cause harm.
Well, I've been in areas where you can insure a vehicle and it doesn't have to be registered. In fact, you have to insure it before I think.
Well, I don't know, but this is the state of Maine, and so you do,
Yeah, I know. Is it insured before you register it, or can you insure it without having to have it registered? Can you insure things without having it registered?
You have to have it insured before you go to register because you have to prove you have insurance.
How come it's written right there? The exemption from registration of this subsection apply only to non-commercial use. So I'm telling you right now and declaring it verbally that I have an automobile, private automobile, my property, that's non-commercial. And that means that it's exempt from any of these registration or licensing laws, that I don't need permission. And I'm also working on with my tribal, with the Native Americans. And I believe as a Native American, you're really free now. You're not a part of this tyrannical federal government that has taken over every single state and creating all these ex post facto laws, all these bills of attainder, all these policies that are unconstitutional that should not stand. They should be recognized as unconstitutional and turning our rights into crimes or privileges And for what? We were free men. People died for these liberties. For what? Us in 2023, we're all just giving it away to and fro. No freedom. People just signing their stuff away. I don't understand this. I think this logic of thinking is backwards. You know, the real way is to recognize your own property. Do you own your own self? Your own children? You know, do we own our own property, or do we have to sign it over? Or is this is what they tell you? You know? Is that the mind of the compliance?
All right, well, just, send in your letter, and I've got another call coming in.
Well, I would like to know,
send it in.
Do you know what to send? Do you know what to say? What?
Write what you're telling me, put it in writing, and send it into the address that I just gave you. And
Okay.
I'll, we'll look at it. And,
So you guys are the gatekeepers? Is this my? See, I want to know what to do so I can write it.
No, we're not a gatekeeper, but
okay.
It's
So how do I write it so I say, hey, we have this written agreement with each other, and not like I'm asking permission. It's like the way you're wording it is like, we'll just look it over and decide, whether you're, free or you're crazy or something. And, the way you're talking is like, everybody has to do this. Everybody. Why? Is this Nazi Germany? We all march into the Holocaust? If I don't take the vaccine, am I a terrible human being? Am I not going to get a job? Am I not a part of society?
I'm not talking about the vaccine.
But it doesn't matter. It starts with the vaccine. It starts with registrations. Before they put it on us with the implication of safety and protection, and then it becomes brainwashed and indoctrinated. It only takes 3 generations to make a people forget who they are. That's it. 3 generations, okay? And we're well on our way. They got our children already. So I'm not going to argue with you, but it would be nice if you can give me some clear information of what...
Just put in writing what you've just said to me.
All right.
That's all you
have
need to do.
a beautiful day. I hope you have a blessed day. God bless you.
How's it going, everybody? It's truly great to be alive. I made this video in regards to my last phone call to the Secretary of State, or the Secretary of the Secretary of State, and how she basically told me to write her a letter in regards to all the information that I'm stating, because I had called wondering what steps to take from Title 29A, Statute 109, Reciprocity. And I wanted to know what steps to take so that she could meet the criteria of the letter to then give me my formal written agreement from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, letting, other agents of agencies and notice to persons or agents. Yes, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and read the letter off to everybody.
Here we go. Got a letterhead. I reserve all rights reserved. UCC 1-308 without prejudice. UCC 1-103.6. Going over, Suri Juris, The Living Man, Seneca Lee Siebert. There's my mailing address and my phone number. And this is going to actually be attached to every single page going across the top. So that's the letterhead. And here we go. Dear Secretary of State, Madam Sheena Bellows, Shalom. I write in great honor to you in regards to the guarantee of my liberties be recognized by your great authority, delegated by the people of the great republic, nation, state of Maine. It is my intention to secure my rights and to follow written procedure of Title 29A, Statute 109, Reciprocity. And then I open up with the definition of reciprocity. Mutuality. The term is used in international law to denote the relation existing between two states when each of them gives the subjects of the other certain privileges, on condition that its own subjects shall enjoy similar privileges at the hands of the later state. So essentially, they're saying that what's good for you is good for me. So then it says, Preamble 1820, Constitution of Maine states, we the people to secure ourselves and posterity and the blessings of liberty, liberty found in the Declaration of Independence and the 5th and 14th Amendments. I like to bring attention to Article 1, Section 2 of the Declaration of Rights in the Maine State Constitution of 1820. And it states, we the people
to secure ourselves and our posterity the blessings of liberty, liberty found in the Declaration of Independence. Okay, yes, so it says, I apologize. Article 1, Section 2 of the Declaration of Rights in the Maine state Constitution of 1820. All power is inherent in the people. All free governments are founded in their authority and instituted for their benefit. They have therefore an unalienable and indefeasible right to institute government and to alter, reform, and totally change the same when their safety and happiness requires it. And so that's essentially what I'm doing. This is a protest, a petition, a notice. Section 5. The right of the people shall be secure in their persons, equals corporations, partnerships, etc., houses, papers, and possessions. And it says in parentheses, personal private property such as an automobile from unreasonable searches and seizures, and no warrant to search any place or seize any person or thing shall issue without a special designation of the place to be searched, and the person or thing to be seized, nor without probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. Section 24, the enumeration of certain rights shall not impair nor deny others retained by the people. Essentially, enumerated rights are like the Bill of Rights. They're rights that are written down, but enumerated rights are rights that are not written down. And the right to travel is not mentioned in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, but it is a right that's enumerated, kind of like breathing. A few sentences in remedy found in the Fifth Amendment in the Constitution of the Continental United States of America. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be witnesses or a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property. Following, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. The term motor vehicle is different and broader than automobile. City of Dayton versus DeBrosse. 23 NE2D 647. 650-62 Ohio APP 232. Notice, my private property and all extensions of my physical being such as a name and automobile are not contracted to you, nor am I a 14th Amendment U.S. second-class citizen. And any attempt in conspiring to violate my rights and use my name or automobile for revenue will be charged $5 million USD in fair compensation. Senegalese Siebert, UCC 1-308, without prejudice. Page 2. The Constitution of the United States, people of the several states, electorates, Article 1, Section 2, the House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states. Third paragraph, among the several states, which may be included within this union. Article 4, Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of the people of the several states. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court. Article 3, Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. Contract property. Arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States and treaties made, or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party to, controversies between two or more states, in parentheses, between a state and citizens of another state, following, and between a state or citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. The aforementioned constitutional notations cover jurisdiction between state citizens and the several states. Yes. Several equals severable or severed or individual or separate. As a non-citizen national of Maine, my rights are secured by all laws of the Supreme Court and the law of the land. The 1820 Maine State Republic Constitution, the Constitution of the United States, Inc., the Declaration of Independence, copies of certified authentic documents of the land and soil jurisdiction, which I have provided. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, regulate commerce with foreign nations among the several states and with the Indian tribes. I should put in there the Articles of Confederation, but I obviously didn't mention it. Section 21, private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. That's out of the 1820 Constitution of Maine. Section 22, no tax or duty shall be imposed without the consent of the people. Section 11, the legislator shall pass no bill of attainder ex post facto law, nor law impairing the obligations of contracts, and no attainder shall work corruption of blood, nor forfeiture of estate. Every American born free has the right to travel. And there's the Supreme Court cases to cover that in a very minimal, she could do the research herself, but those are the case law for her to be able to do the research. We have Chicago Coach Company versus City of Chicago, 337, Illinois, 200-169, NE22. Thompson versus Smith, Supra, Tech Lines versus Danforth, Mississippi or Missouri, MISS, 125-2D784. Barney versus Board of Railroad Commissions, 17P2D82. Hill House versus United States, 152F.163164, Second Circuit, 1907. Commercial terminology. Registration of securities. Recording in the official books of the company of the name and address of the holder of each bond or certificate of stock with date of its issue, and in the case of a transfer of stock from one holder to another, the names of both parties and such other details as will identify the transaction and preserve an official record of its essential facts. Such information is required for paying dividends, mailing of proxies, annual reports, etc. Statutory procedure requiring the filing with the SEC of various documents, including a prospectus, in order for securities to be publicly offered. Clearance must be obtained from the SEC before the securities may be sold. There is no ceiling relative to the number of shares or dollar amount that may be registered. 15 U.S.C. Statute 77F ET SEQ. See also Registered Stock, Registration Statement, Regulation A, and Shelf Registration. Registration Statement. Document required by the Securities Act of 1933 of most companies wishing, implies choice, to issue securities to the public or by the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Of a company wishing to have its securities traded in public markets. The statement discloses financial data, purpose of securities offering, and other items of interest to potential investors. Such statements must be submitted to and approved by the SEC, 15 U.S.C.A. Statute 77F at SEQ. See also Letter of Comment, Prospectus, Registration of Securities, Regulation A. Question: what is the first request made by a policy enforcer or officer? License and registration, please. Commerce equals admiralty equals maritime. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. So, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18 allows, through consent, to allow the creation of the District of Columbia and its democratic form outside Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, recognizing the United States, Inc., shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect against invasion, both foreign and domestic. Congress only has the right through Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3, where it states, Congress shall only have power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. And in parentheses, it says, this is clearly different jurisdictions from the Union's several states and its citizens, peoples, and non-citizen nationals, and Section 302, Public Law 94-241. And it says, I was sworn in on the 29th of August, 2022, recording number ME 16 2022 000006. And it says, Article 6, Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Commerce is admiralty, maritime, equity. Title 29A, Statute 109B, Section 2. And then there's the public law, PL 1993 C683 PTA Statute 2, new, PL 1993 C683 Part PTB Statute 5, AFF. The exemption from registration of this subsection apply only to non-commercial use and operation of vehicles in this state. 2. Formal agreements. The Secretary of State, after determining that like privileges are granted by a jurisdiction of the United States or province, shall enter into a written agreement with that jurisdiction of the United States or province, setting forth the conditions under which residents of that jurisdiction engage in interstate commerce operations in and throughout this state are exempt from registration and licensing laws of this state. And then it says, I, the living man, Senegalese Seabird, superscript copyright symbol, formally agree to respect and abide to all common laws of the postal public county roads, from speed limits, traffic lights and signals, and maintenance of said private automobile, and agree to all consequences if any tort crime arises, to take full credit and responsibility. And this is my name. Register, to record formally and exactly, to enroll, to enter precisely in a list, or the like to enroll, to make correspond exactly one with another, to fit correctly in a relative position. An officer authorized by law to keep record called a register, or a registry. So a register is also an individual. So this is registry. A register or book authorized or recognized by law kept for the recording or registration of facts or documents. The list or record of ships to the maritime regulations of a particular country. The listing of a vessel at a custom house under the name of the country whose flag it flies, which is exactly what they put on registrations. Though such flag is not necessarily indicative of the nationality of the owner. Generally, registry applies to vessels and foreign commerce, whereas enrollment refers to coast-wide navigation. So then it says registration. Land. System by which owner of real property may petition court for certificate of title by which state certifies such title as being in the owner whose name appears on certificate of title. Registrar. An officer who has the custody and charge of keeping of a registry or register, person in a hospital responsible for admitting of patients, an agent, usually a bank or trust company, appointed by a corporation to keep records of the names of bond and stockholders and distributions of earnings. See registration of securities, which we did. So essentially that goes back to the stock market and what appears to be the debt. So then it goes into this. In 1938, Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, the year the courts blended law with equity, the district court decided on commercial law, negotiable instruments law, civil, no contract with Erie Railroad Company, so he had no jurisdiction or right to sue the company, lacking standing to sue under the common law. Not being contracted, I reserve all rights as a free man, protected and secured in doing so, request your deepest regards and recognition to uphold your oath and to serve properly the remedy necessary for accommodating Title 29A, B2 Reciprocity. For I protest I am not conducting any commercial activity in any way as a living man upon the will of our Supreme Creator. I do not, nor will I ever consent to the state or attachment to the state through contractual consent with the District of Columbia. And then it says 77 Statute 630631, PL 88-243, 1963, an act to enact the Uniform Commercial Code for the District of Columbia and for other purposes. So that act, that code goes of how the Uniform Commercial Code is for the District of Columbia. Title 11 UCC, Article 1A, Part 2, General Definitions and Principal Interpretations, Statute 1-1201, and this is where you're going to get into general definitions of pretty much state, means a state of the United States, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, or any territory or insular, which is pretty much an island, possession subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. You pretty much are an insular. You're a body walking, you have water inside you. It's pretty incredible to think about the human body and how Earth really works. 35, security interest means an interest in personal property or fixtures that secure payments for performance of an obligation. Security interest includes any interest of a cosigner or buyer of accounts or chattel paper, a payment intangible, or a promissory note in a transaction that is subject to Article 9A. Security interest does not include the special property interest of a buyer of goods on identification of those goods to a contract for sale under Section 2-401. I refuse to give up my rights and violate my own Fifth and Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my person's papers, houses, which an automobile is a household item to the Supreme Court rulings, and effects. The right to property, because without property you have no rights. Security interest correlates with registration securities. The government is bankrupt. They are the ones who are responsible for paying back the debt. not the American people. I will not pledge my property over to a foreign corporation to secure the debts imposed fraudulently on the people. It's a religion I do not adhere to. I do not contract with the DOT or any institution doing business or any other activity that need any regulation from commerce. I am not for hire or engaging in any transportation use of the highways. There will be no bill of lading in my name. Next is the definition of commerce. The exchange of goods, productions. And we'll put the goods in there. Goods, productions, or property of any kind, the buying, selling, and exchanging of articles, the transportation of persons and property by land, water, and air. Black's Law, 6th edition. Commercial relates to or is connected with trade and traffic or commerce in general, is occupied with business and commerce. Generic term for most of all aspects of buying and selling. Commercial activity. The term includes any type of business or activity which is carried on for a profit. Activity relating or connected with trade and traffic or commerce in general. USC 18 Statute 31A 10, also A and 6. Used for commercial purposes. The term used for commercial purposes means the carriage of persons or property for any fare, fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, or directly or indirectly, in connection with any business or other undertaking intended for profit. I mean, you really can't get away with the USC, the United States Code 18, and then you go ahead and check that out for yourself. You might be a little blown away, especially Madam Secretary Sheena Bellows. Motor vehicle. The term motor vehicle means every description of carriage or other contrivance propelled or drawn by mechanical power and used for commercial purposes on the highways in the transportation of passengers, and property or cargo. The construction of the UCC is found in Title 11, Statute 1-1103. 2. Describes law and equity and the law relative to capacity to contract, principal and agent, estoppel, fraud, misrepresentation, duress, coercion, mistake, bankruptcy, and other validating or invalidating cause supplement its provisions. And it says, I, sui juris, the living man, Senegalese Seabird, non-citizen national of Maine State Republic, and aggrieved party. That's, yeah, see, I even used two, which an aggrieved party, and a party entitled to pursue remedy. And 32 means a remedial right to which an aggrieved party is entitled with or without resort to a tribunal. Essentially, that means that we're not going to go to court. I have a right to a remedy of right without having to go to any kind of tribunal court. 34, right includes a remedy. To recognize no contract between I and the state was made, nor do I wish to ever sign away my private property as a security to become a negotiable instrument to pay the debt incurred by the federal government and the District of Columbia Federal Reserve Bank. As a security interest, Title 11, Statute 1-1201, 35, to gain a warehouse receipt, such as a registration or registration of securities, for Securities Act of 1933, along with the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, placing all equity on and in the stock market. I reserve all rights recognized in Title 11, Article 1-A, Part 3, Statute 1-1308, as a 47 non-resident and 50 sole owner of my automobile, private domicile, 1985 Ford Aluma, and then there's my number, private use automobile, outside the jurisdiction of the federally contracted state of Maine with the District of Columbia, United States, Inc., and in UCC 9-307, also 9 Corpus Juris Secundum 541. The United States is a foreign bankrupt corporation described at 28 USC Statute 30025A, and is not the same thing as the Republic of the United States of America according to 19 Corpus Juris Secundum 541, 1990. The United States government is a foreign corporation with respect to a state. UCC 9-307, I believe that's chapter. Oh, no, it's just H. So UCC 9-307H, location of debtor. Norton v. Shelby, CO 118 US 425, 1886. Maritime Admiralty USC 18 Statute 9, vessel of the United States. The term vessel of the United States as used in this title means a vessel belonging in whole or in part to the United States, or any citizen thereof, or any corporation created by or under the laws of the United States, or of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof. Title 11, Statute 1-1201, 38, state means a state of the United States, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the United States Virgin Islands, or any territory, insular possession subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. There's a lot of repetitiveness in the vernacular or the phraseology, but they do that too in their legal proceedings and a lot of, contractual agreements. And in the private jurisdiction of the Union, several states, presiding in the common law territory of the nation state and the Republic of Maine, invoke all fundamental rights, including the right to liberty and property. That in happiness and kindly respect your authority delegated by the people of Maine, and trusted to honor your oath, and to, under Title 11, Statute 1-1305, to install all remedies to be liberally administered, and request relief of any conspiracy to go against my fundamental right to travel freely unmolested, or any estoppel to my persons as to the body and living soul that is of man and his private property engaging in life and liberty. Failure to administer relief and remedy and immunities may be in violation of USC 18 Statute 246, as well as USC 18 Statute 241, conspiracy to go against rights under color of law, and USC 18 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. I also invoke Public Law A1010121, effective January 1st, 2021. Which alleviates any implied consent or tacit agreement that any corporation or person of any kind shall in any respect have claim to any commercial or trade ownership interest in a living man or woman owning my own vessel, body, temple of God, avatar, shall enjoy the right to be free on the land and soil jurisdiction in the metes and measures of the continental United States of America and the beautiful, amazing nation state of Maine, 1820. It is my right to own property and to freely use it on our private and public post roads, county roads, roadways, and highways that are right-of-ways for the right to travel recognized by Supreme Court rulings many times. And then it talks about the word automobile connotates a pleasure vehicle designed for transportation of persons on highways. Liberadet verse Crandall 126 NW 69110 MINN 454 456. The term motor vehicle is different and broader than the word automobile. International Motor Transit Company versus Seattle 251 P120. I, Senegal Seabird, invoke the 9th Amendment for the right to travel retained by the people, enumerated yet recognized under the powers in the 10th Amendment reserved by the people. Common law derives its origin from natural law. And USC 28 3002 15A, the United States means a federal corporation. I revoke all contracts from the federal government and invoke PL 9728096, Statute 1211, enacting Psalms 8:6. Dominion over thy works of thy hands. Dominion over the works of thy hands. I humbly request your recognition as a born free man to exercise all rights freely that is delegated by God and recognized and protected by the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, to be unmolested and unaccosted by the public servants hired to protect and secure my rights. Any actions commenced against me may be in violation of USC Title 1, Chapter 13, 241, conspiracy to go against my rights under color of law, and deprivation of rights under color of law under USC 18, Title 1, Chapter 13, 242, and may be susceptible to an Action 1983 civil lawsuit under USC 42 Statute 1983. I request relief from obligations contracted me and relief from implied consent to be governed as long as no crime has been committed in the form of a tort crime. There has been no contract made to breach. There is no corpus delicti as a body of evidence, no property damaged nor stolen, as I pledge to honor the common law and Christian precepts also found as common law in the Anderson Law Dictionary of 1889. To also follow all the rules and regulations of all private and public roadways, highways, and postal roads and county roads without prejudice, in good faith. Now, I see a lot of people freely travel and break the speed limits and still feel that they have a right to do that. But the real truth is that in common law, a lot of these laws were made under the common law and common sense. And, a lot of these people set the speed limit, driving at a safe speed, that if you took this turn, your vehicle wouldn't break traction and would safely be able to make it. But If it's a 45 mile an hour turn and you're doing 70 or 80, you're probably going to drive off the road. And that's why they have the speed limits. So it says, in good faith, I, the living man, Senegalese Siebert, request relief and honor from your great hand of authority granted by we the people to grant a letter of correspondence enacting an official court of record and documentation recognizing Title 29A, Statute 109, Reciprocity for its exemption for all registration and licensing laws, statutes, acts, ordinances, and any form of regulation of commerce from Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution of the nation state of Maine of the Union. Failure or deprivation of relief may be in violation of U.S.C. Part 1, Chapter 13, 246. Whoever directly or indirectly Whoever directly or indirectly attempts to deprive, or threatens to deprive any person of any employment, position, work, compensation, or other benefit provided for or made possible in whole or in part by any act of Congress appropriating funds for work relief or relief purposes on account of political affiliation, race, color, sex, religion, or national origin shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year. So I'm going for the benefits and my nationality. And this is where I want the relief from any kind of idea that I'm subjected to unconstitutional statutes or obligations, especially in a non-commercial capacity. So I went ahead and I looked up the Black's Law Dictionary definition of benefit. It's one of the most recent that I had, and it's still in depth because as they got more advanced, they actually condensed and abridged the definition. So this is a pretty good one. Advantage, profit, fruit, privilege, gain, interest, the receiving as the exchange for promise, some performance or forbearance, which promisor was not previously entitled to receive. Graphic Arts Finishers Incorporated versus Boston Redevelopment Authority, 357 Mass 40255 NE 2D 743 795. Financial assistance received in time of sickness, disability, unemployment, etc., either from insurance or public programs such as Social Security. Contracts. When it is said that a valuable consideration for a promise may consist of a benefit to the promisor, benefit means that the promisor has, in return for his promise, acquired some legal right to which he would not otherwise have been entitled. Irving versus Irwin, 133 CAL APP 374 24 P.2D 215 and 216. Willem versus Sizemore, 267 KY 384 102 S.W.2D 323 324. Eminent domain. This is where we go. And the government actually takes land from people claiming that they have eminent domain. In fact, in Maine, they were, petitioning and voting against CMP taking over the wild lands or the national forest through Maine and, drilling through there. And because the people voted against it so strongly, they just went ahead and claimed eminent domain, which I, find to be very tyrannical. But hey, that's what happens. Sometimes when you believe you have power, the only way to get your way is by force and deception. It is a rule that in assessing damages for private property taken or injured for public use, special benefits may be set off against the amount of damage found, but not general benefits. Within the meaning of this rule, general benefits are such as accrue to the community at large, to the vicinage, or to all property similarly situated with reference to the work or improvement in question, while special benefits are such as accrue directly and solely to the owner of the land in question and not to others. Black's Law, 5th edition. We, the people, are the owners of the government and its land and tenements, and are entitled to all rights, privileges, and benefits of life, liberty, property, and happiness. And then last but not least, the final page. As one of the people of the several states and outside the jurisdiction of the Maritime Admiralty Commercial Federal Corporation of the United States, Inc., District of Columbia, this notice in demand illustrates my declaration and request to honor your oath of office and to grant a letter of reciprocity to the living man, Senegalese Siebert, a Maine non-citizen national, and to recognize and enforce my right to travel freely. 3 business days after a review of this letter without response will be accepted as a tacit agreement and notice, as this letter is both a notice and affidavit of truth covering facts, intents, laws, and authority by the authorized parties secured and protected. I invoke Rule 5.1, which challenges the constitutionality of the statutes and contrary to my right to travel, respectfully. And then it just goes on, and look, it became an actual notarized affidavit. So this has just got notarized today by Brittany Hollingsworth. And I'm not going to lie, it's really impressive to know that this letter, and, you know, I sat there and I was like, you know what, this has intent, it has legality in it, it has bullet points in it of all truth and fact, leading to a remedy or a seeking remedial resolution. And so this, to me, became an affidavit. And you know what? I'm sending this too, which is, I got this notarized today. And this is an affidavit, a notice and demand right to travel. Here it is. Wham. And if anybody needs a template of this, I have some, okay? And I'll charge only a couple of bucks, nothing too crazy, but it is going to cost, because it costs money for this book and to have all these templates put out. But essentially, this covers about everything that I pretty much said, but already written out in a very articulable fashion, like a real truth. It's a real affidavit. This is a real affidavit of truth. And yeah, so we already know that an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in law. So we got that. She's going to get that. She's going to get the memorandum of law, right to travel. It's got all the laws and the phraseology to be able to cover a necessary memorandum of law. This one had it messed up, but I ended up fixing it. And also, I have this available too. I could probably do like $10 a copy, something like that, which I think is a reasonable charge for the paperwork. You know, it's just essentially covering costs of, you know, time and me getting it to you and stuff like that, you know. And it helps me too, you know. But yeah, so she's going to get the memorandum of law along with a copy of all my state national credentials. So, there's that. Let me know what you truly honestly think. I'm definitely going to keep everybody updated on the results. She's definitely going to receive this certified mail, and it will be a court of record. And, you know, I feel as though, you know, when you're asking for something, you can't ask the government for your rights. You have to demand them, but yet do it in a respectful way. You know, she does have authority. These people do have authority. And the only way that you're going to have authority is if you recognize that these people have authority. There is, you know, when you're attempting to move freely, but yet respect and not defraud the system, I believe this is going to go in my favor. I really hope that this letter meets the criteria necessary for her to grant me the letter of reciprocity, and so that I can notarize, or at least have on me at hand everywhere I go with my travel documents, so that whenever I am freely traveling down the road in my private automobile, if I ever get stopped by a policy enforcer, I can show them this documentation and everything that I have, and then they would be forced to pretty much have to adhere to those laws and let me go. So that's what I got so far. Stay tuned for the How's it going, everybody? It's Monday, September 18th, 8 o'clock at some time, and we're heading to the post office to mail out the letter of reciprocity to the Secretary of State, Sheena Bellows. So, here we go.
So I walked away. It was holding me up. So I came to stepped over the body of a good man. I wanted to change. I wanted to change. So I walked away.
Today's Monday, September 18th, 2023. It's my first audit. U.S. Post Office, Putnam Hall, Florida, 32185. Get a look around this facility. It's supposed to be a government tax-paid facility. As you can see, there's trash everywhere. No one's really maintaining it. Got trash everywhere. Take a look in the back here. No graffiti. Nice place. Being maintained for the most part. Took a good look around. This is one of the smallest post offices I've ever seen in my life. Hey, good morning. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Pretty good. Just here documenting and getting ready to do a certified mailing and recording it and documenting at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
You too. Why are you recording it?
Oh, I'm documenting it as a receipt, also evidence.
You get a receipt.
Yeah, I know. I'm allowed to do this under USC 42 2000 AA. And also the First Amendment, which protects me under the First Amendment of the freedom of press and the freedom of speech. And also on Postal Rules number 7, you have it over here. Photograph for news, advertising, or commercial purposes. Photographs for news purposes may be taken in entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums when used for public meetings, except where prohibited by official signs or security force personnel. So this is for myself, and I'm allowed to document it also under USC 42 2000 AA, which gives me federal protection. This is a federal facility. You're a public servant. I'm a private citizen. You still here, ma'am?
I am.
Okay.
I was just letting you say whatever you needed to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's right here, too. I also have a copy of the Constitution. You can read the First Amendment, which every oath keeper swears an oath to the dedimus of justice to protect and serve all our rights. And rights are guaranteed by God and protected by the Constitution. And one of them is no law respecting an establishment of religion, which is my belief system, could be the religion of Seneca, or prohibition of the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press. So the press, without a free press of the people, then we don't have a free media, so therefore we're under tyranny. And so, yeah, I actually am documenting this to create a certified mailing package out to, oh man, trying to remember the actual address. I know I wrote it down. I was here Friday, but you guys closed so early. I didn't know you guys closed so early. So, is there a problem?
No, I'm just waiting out whatever for when it's time for me to do what I need to do.
When I do I'm going to do certified mail. I was wondering if you could look up the address to the Secretary of State. I know it's something State House, Augusta, Maine. And, because it's got to go there, and I forgot the address. I wrote it down at home, but I don't have it on me right now.
Okay.
You know what? I think I might have it. Okay. So I know where it's going. Sorry about that. And I'd like to do the certified mail, if we could.
So you need to have it all addressed out?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't have anything at my house to officiate everything completely. I had to go to the library to get all these things done.
And I am probably not going to be any help because I don't have any envelopes.
Okay.
So, unless you purchase a flat rate.
Yeah, we'll do that. How much is a flat rate?
Let me see how much this This one's going to end up being $9.65.
So $9.65, and you don't have any envelopes whatsoever.
I don't.
Okay.
Now there is.
No, this
Lake
is the only one.
Geneva or Grandin, which is just up the road.
You can give me a ride, or I can walk here.
Sorry.
Right. So this is where I'm at, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and do what I gotta do. It's got to get done.
Here is the. I should do that one. That way the sticker can go on there from the to and from. What did I do with? Yeah, I just had it. There it is. Hey, Sabeth, it's Maggie. How are you? Listen, I have a customer here. This is another certified, but this is a flat rate priority mail envelope that he needs to purchase. So I was just wanting to double check on, since I know it's different, I wanted to double check on that. He's now filling out the to and from sticker to put on it.
I just want to make sure, can spelling Augusta right? Maine, August.
I'm not sure.
You don't have like a
You might
computer?
have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't have the internet on my phone. So I'm asking you. So basically, you're not going to help me with that?
Do you need the return receipt or just certified? Sir?
I need the certified as well.
So you need something saying that they received it.
Yes.
That's the return receipt.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, both. Yes. Okay. Give me just a second. Putnam Hall Post Office, this is Maggie. How can I help you? Hey. Hang on just a second. Hey, Sabeth, I've got Jennifer on the line. I'll give you a call back, okay? Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye. Hey. So, at the moment, he is filling out his, to and from. He's putting it on in a priority mail envelope with certified and return receipt. Yeah, I can hear you. No. Right, yeah. Right. Are you at the office? Okay, I can do that. A few more things to fill out, so that we can get this going to the
Yes.
submissions.
So you want my signature? No.
Just follow the directions on there. No, you wouldn't do the signature. You need to.
No,
fill
I do it on
out
the back, right?
part, correct.
Yeah, okay.
The address and where you're sending it to.
Usually they actually do this for me, so I'm kind of new
I'm
at
sorry,
doing your
I'm
job.
not allowed to write all of the information down on the.
They did it for me last time, so, but not this specific post office, but
Okay.
the post office administrator or whoever the public servant was that was a part of the team had done it. So basically just the same thing as what I did here, right? Yep.
Correct. All right, so he's filling out the card, the return receipt card. I've got the certified mail label here in front of me. Yeah, I've got that. So what do I put down on this return receipt? Is it the same exact thing as the same cost? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Nah, let me see. This one's the regular flat rate envelope. Correct. Okay, hold on. And then the $9.65 goes in the postage part. Okay. Correct.
Can I get the certified mailing number?
I'm sorry, could you hold on for me just 1 second? I'm trying to listen to the person on the phone
Okay.
real quick. Thank you. Go ahead. Let me see. You said 365? 65. 55. That's what I was like, girl. Okay. And then just, oops. It would help if I put in the right numbers. Thank you. That's exactly what I was doing. You said 17. Okay. All right, so we will get this all up in an envelope, and that's about it. I'll have him fill this part out here.
Is that the certified number?
This is the certified number.
Okay, can I get that?
You will after I get done putting it on the
I need to
envelope.
put it on here though.
Okay, let me ask you to do one more thing.
Yeah.
I need you to fill this out here. Basically the same thing. You're sending it to.
Okay, I need that. Okay,
Sure.
There it is right there. It's Secretary of State. So this is who I'm sending it to?
Correct.
Okay. Sent to...
And the reason we have you do that is so that if we make a mistake, it's not my
Okay,
fault.
that makes sense.
You're the one sending it. It's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Yes, I will. And I can stop by there when I get done here. Probably better.
Is this the number? Which one's the number? This is the number?
Correct.
So
They're
I can-
all the same number on this here.
Okay. And I can
So
put
all
that
those-
number right here. That's the number, right?
If that's what you are supposed to do.
Thank you. Yep.
Hang on for me just 1 second, so I can help finish helping him.
I'm doing this so it's official. Oh,
Okay, I need to have that part back.
I got one more to do, so
Okay.
I'll just copy off what I just wrote
Let me
down.
get my stamper. And
Thank
how-
you.
And how are you going to be paying for this?
Cash.
Okay.
Why are you guys lifting from the tail? I'm just
I'm
playing.
sorry.
I'm just
I didn't
playing.
hear- I
I
didn't
got a
hear you.
really dark humor.
No, it's
I
okay.
said,
I
what are you
just-
lifting from the till? Because usually
Oh.
people want the cash, you know?
No.
I know.
like my
Yo.
job.
I'm one of those guys. I'll call you out on your shit even if you didn't do the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just my
Right.
nature. you
Right,
know?
right.
Some people think I'm a nice guy. Some people don't.
Okay.
I ain't here to please everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Is that everything that you're wanting?
This is everything, all 4
Okay.
documents.
And put
Yep.
it all in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's this?
And your total is going to be $17.55. I keep wanting to say 65.
$20 going to the young lady.
Let me put this on here real quick since I got it started.
All right.
I can't seem to.
It's
There
Monday.
we go.
What do I
It is
really
a
expect
Monday.
out of you?
It is a Monday.
Yeah.
Don't expect too much
Yeah. You know?
because we're still asleep.
Hey, I was here. I thought I'll head down at 9. It took me about 50 minutes to walk here. And you guys were closed on Friday. And it was kind of upsetting. So I was like, all right,
Actually,
Monday.
we are open Monday through Friday till
But not the
10.
window. Right. It closed at 10.
Correct.
So I didn't know that until I came here. And then I got educated.
That's okay. You know for next time.
Now I know.
$2.45.
I am going to be a
is
part
your
of this
change.
member. Here you go. Here's your pen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
$2.45.
Yep.
We'll throw that away. And then, hang on for me just a second. Hey, which part does he get? Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check. Okay, so everything's there. We all have everything we need. We have the money, and I will finish putting postage on this. And that'll do it. We'll
That's
send
it?
off.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And they-
That's your receipt.
Now, in that letter, it says they have 3 days to correspond from the moment that they get it. And how does the certified mail, will somebody let me know by putting a mail post-it in my mailbox, letting me know that they got it? Is that how it works?
Jennifer, how's he gonna know that they received it other than? Right. Yeah. You'll get this back in your mail
Once
and
it's
then
received.
You can also track it with that number on
Okay, yeah.
USPS.com.
And you didn't give me a real tangible receipt.
What I
This is it?
postmarked
Oh,
has
okay.
the amount you paid. It has today's date. It has the address that you're sending it to.
Okay.
So that's your.
It's
receipt.
okay.
And
What's
it
your
has-
name?
I'm good. And I'm Maggie.
Maggie?
And it has
Okay.
that tracking number. If
Perfect.
you go to USPS.com, you can put that tracking number on it and watch it go where it's going.
Perfect. So the certified mail is also the tracking number.
Correct.
Perfect. And thank you, Maggie.
You're very welcome.
Not I hope I didn't make you upset. Maybe it's okay. It sounded like when I asked for the receipt though, like it was like I did my job, motherfucker. I'm just saying, I hope we didn't offend you, and
Not at all.
maybe you.